sometimes, like, if things go south or you got to pivot or whatnot, and in the moment it may be like stressful and you get brain fog and you can't think clearly. Like, I just had this happen maybe a couple weeks ago where I had to pivot for a client, uh, and I'm just scratching my head. I'm like, I just don't know how to get this done. And I got a call from the realtor. Obviously, I'm always honest and upfront with how things are going, and even the realtor's like, I believe in you, I trust you, I know you can find a solution. And like, although I didn't know it then at the given time, and then even with my girlfriend, like, hey, you'll find a solution. There's a program, or you'll restructure it, something. And yes, eventually I was like, like, maybe let's do it, let's try it this way. And you get to a point where, like, your skills start coming back. They're just like, hey, they're there, you're capable of figuring this thing out.
Hey, so welcome to Do It All with Nancy.
Do it all. I love it.
Yes, do it all. So I'm here with Javi. Javi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Javier. I'm here. I'm Nancy's cousin. I live here in Orlando, and I'm in real estate.
How old are you?
I am 34.
Perfect. So today's topic, we're going to be discussing navigating change in your 30s. So I have some questions for you that hopefully will help, others navigate change. Usually, in your 30s, a lot of people, it's more foundational grounding. People start getting married, having kids,
Yeah.
growing their careers. So going into your 30s, what did you think about? What were you looking forward to?
I think in my 30s, I definitely a big emphasis on your career. And so I would spend a lot of time, like, just thinking about, like, how could I improve what I'm doing? Because I would want to be like the best, I guess, in the industry. Like, how do I strive to become that? And I think that's become more of my time. Whereas, like, I think in your 20s, you're just kind of still figuring things out. You're navigating, you're learning, and you're making mistakes, right? And I think in your 30s, it's more about, like, trying to hone in on those skills that you have, and just being better. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about, kind of getting into my 30s, just being more established.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. And I think we had some discussions yesterday that there's the people in generation in their 30s. There's, I think, two types.
Because there is a gap in age, and it's not too much, but it's a significant gap. I guess, like, just their generation and our generation. And I think, as for us that are a little bit older, I think maybe we were not as informed, I guess, too much in our 20s. Whereas, for example, my sisters, like, since I was kind of like going through it, navigating it myself, trying to figure things out in my 20s, or just even younger when we were in high school, it's just like just like seeing what other students are doing or seeing what other people are doing, and I'm like, oh, we should be doing that. And it's something that, like, really, like, our parents really didn't know much either, as far as, like, the education system and trying to, like, apply for programs or preparing to take tests or exams. And it's like, since I was kind of like in that forefront, I was able to kind of like help, at least my sister, be like, hey, like, maybe you should do this way and maybe get ahead. And so I think that's why there might be a little bit of a difference as to, like, how they approach their 30s and how we're in our 30s, like, still trying to, like, evolve or improve ourselves.
That actually makes sense because with siblings, the younger ones always seem to kind of ride the wave. And like life seems a little bit easier for them because, they
Yeah.
have others or their older siblings are guiding them, like to do things quicker, faster, or
Yeah.
to don't make the same mistakes, basically. What's one thing that you thought you would have figured out by now and you haven't?
Oh man. Just like, I mean, in what terms? Like, more of like,
Anything, personal, career wise, where you thought you would be
I think about more of like the investment side of things. I think more financially because obviously in hindsight you can just like think about all the things that you've done or spent money on, right? And so there's a lot of times where, and again, I don't like to think too much in the past, but it's like, man, if I had a little bit more guidance as to like in my 20s, I'm just throwing all this money away on going out, going to the bars. Like I was definitely the person that would pick up the tab, you know? And those are just a lot of expenses. Like if you think about like just even a simple investment account and compounding interest. Like even if I would have taken like $100 or that weekend, for example, if I spent $200 and I put that in an account, and that would be 10 years ago, how much would that be today? You know, so but again, those are just learning things that I'm taking into consideration now. Like, okay, well now I'm 100% more conscious about where I'm putting my money. So that's I think I thought I would be I guess more further along than I am now. But again, I'm okay with where I'm at today because now I'm actually doing the work and trying, and so I think that's to me I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How have your relationships changed? Whether it be with friends, family, in your 30s.
Yeah. So actually, it's a very good question. Just because like relationships do evolve, and relationships can be like you said, it's friends, friendships, co-workers, colleagues, your significant other, family members. I mean, you name it. There's so many people that are around you. I think because I think the older that we get, I know like time is limited, and so it's more about like where do you put your energy into? Because there's a lot of people in this world, right? And so like I think being selective and spending your time with the ones that like also reciprocate that love and support,
100%.
right? Because you don't want to, you don't want to pour into somebody and then you don't get the same energy back. It's like, what's the point?
That's very true. I think I experienced that myself. It's like in your 30s, you're heads down. At least I was heads down, trying to, have the kids and also grow my career. So you really don't have time. You really are just focused on the ones that are reaching out, and you yourself trying to be active and maintain that because it's a two-way street. I remember, I have my two sisters that are out here, and one of them, I we really had to schedule our calls to
Yep.
to maintain that relationship.
And that's a good, you're putting in the effort. I mean, even just penciling somebody in, like, hey, that means you care about them, but they also understand, like, hey, you're busy too. And, like, we're okay. We don't need to talk all the time. But even just that whole, hey, let's pencil something in. Like, you look forward to talking to that person when that day comes.
And I feel like I'm doing that even more in my 40s, like trying to be very mindful of maintaining the relationships or the people that you do want in your life
Yeah.
and penciling them in.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we can go by, so many, you can see each other just for like a birthday, like once a year. And then you don't talk to each other. But if you want to maintain that relationship, you have to put in a little bit more effort.
Yeah. I think just going more into this topic as far as relationships, like relationships really have a huge impact just like on I think about every aspect of your life, uh, emotionally, friends and family, like what you're going through, can they help you out? What can they help you with? It also pours into your work, the colleagues, especially like in real estate, for example, like it's not a one man show. When somebody is trying to facilitate a transaction or buy a house, and you're familiar with this, is that you're working with multiple people, and so like you want to be able to like that person on the other side of that transaction or who's part of it, You know, with buying a home, you have the bank, you have the realtor, you have the home insurance person. You may have an attorney. I know maybe upstate in New York, you're dealing with attorneys. So like the title companies, you know, it's a handful of people. So if you have a good relationship with those people, it's easier for a new person to come in, which again, a client could also turn into a beautiful relationship as well. So you're also kind of like inviting them into your circle of, and it's a circle of trust. You know, like, hey, like these are really good people. And again, like for us too, like I want to do business with people that I like and trust. Right. So if I bring somebody in, like they also may have a good relationship with that home insurance person. And that has happened with our transactions as well, or people who have closed with us because they're like, oh, I have another property over here. Like I need home insurance. Well, I've connected you with this person and you can reach out to them. You don't have to go through me. You now have a new contact and somebody in your corner for home insurance.
I agree. I think building relationships is so important because you never know what that person will do for you or vice versa. And like you said, in real estate, if you buy multiple properties and you're comfortable with that circle of people that already helped you with a transaction, you're probably going to keep going back. You're not going to live for anyone else because
They become repeat
yeah.
customers, repeat
Yes.
clients, or even lifetime clients. And that's the way I like to facilitate my business. I want lifetime clients. I want to be able to see your first home, see your second home, maybe buy an investment property. Like, because at the end of the day, like, I also want you to succeed financially, and you're building your net worth. You're leaving something maybe for the next generation, maybe for your kids. Like these are huge steps into uh, like elevating or just becoming a little better all around.
No, yeah, definitely. So going along with that, in your career, are you where you want to be? I think you mentioned that
Yeah.
that's where you're focused on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, it's definitely been a journey. I've been in the industry for about a little over 10 years now. And maybe this can kind of like show or showcase, I should say, like somebody trying to get into the business, right? Like obviously I know the whole point of this is to like help the younger generations as to like how do you get to point A to point B in your career. And you obviously one got to start somewhere. Okay. Uh, you got to pick a path and stick to that path because you need to be consistent, right? It's like kind of like sharpening a knife, right? It's the same knife and you're sharpening a knife and it's going to get sharper and sharper as you keep, sharpening it. And so when I got into the industry, it was more like at least the mortgage industry. I had the opportunity to work for a retail bank. And so it was a level entry position. And so again, you got to start somewhere. And from a level entry position to an actual just like a loan officer being licensed independently, like it can take few steps just to get there. And I actually enjoyed the journey that I was on because when I was with I would say like kind of pushing paper, just level entry, it was the exposure that really, you're in a new environment and, mortgages it's huge. Like, bank is a big product for banking. It's obviously a product for people that when they buy a home, they need. And so many banks offer these programs. And so when you're in the weeds of it, and then you're like, okay, there's so much going on the back end, like verifying employment, doing the title work, getting the home insurance. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of people and team to get there. And the thing about being in that position or being exposed, that you're actually going to be exposed to all kinds of situations because not every person has the same financial background or financial status or whatever's going on. Somebody may not have the down payment, or maybe they don't have the closing cost, or maybe they're credit score is a lot lower and maybe they don't qualify for this particular program, but hey, there's another program over here. So you start seeing like all kinds of walks of life, and in all kinds of stages in life, like where they're at. Are they in their 20s, or are they in their 30s, or are they in their 40s, or maybe they're in their 50s buying their first home, you know? So definitely like the exposure, just working your way up, and like obviously that you get to a point where you start taking on more responsibilities, and you can, every state offers licensing for being a loan officer. You take the exam, you get licensed with the state, and you're able to originate loans. You're able to talk to the client about interest rates, products, and help that person out with a program. So definitely, you know, I to answer your question as far as where, you know, in my career, if I'm like happy where I'm at, I would say yes, just because like I've always dreamt of being that independent loan officer, getting my own book of business. Because when I was in my 20s, I did work for other under loan officers, and it was, you know, I would see their book of business and how they were doing things, and I learned a lot from everybody that I used to work with, and obviously super grateful for the opportunities, because without them or those opportunities, I wouldn't be here today. So, you know, I guess you always take those opportunities, because you never know where it's going to take you.
Where it's going to lead you. No, I can definitely agree. And I think you touched on something where my generation too, like I was 17 years, I worked in corporate, but within those 17 years, you learned a lot. We had so many mergers, acquisitions, things changed within the company. I moved from different departments, so you do learn a lot, and you learn really at its core how that system works.
Yep.
And so I know that some people younger like to move to get better pay, but I think there is something about staying where you're at,
Yeah.
and riding that, navigating within that industry, that you learn a lot more, that you're really good at.
Yeah.
And I think different successful people have said that it's like, if you want to be really good at something, you stick to it. You constantly stick to it, and you get better.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like the same thing as, for example, like a doctor would. They spend a lot of time in schooling, residency, to become that doctor. And so they're picking a path. And so I think that's super important for somebody to like, what is it do I really want to do, and stick to that. And the thing is with, even though maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do in life, there's so many industries. Literally, like there's the, you have the hotel business, you have restaurant business, which we're, familiar with our parents being in the restaurant business. It's hard, but like they stuck to it. They stuck to something, right? There's the real estate industry, and like and then within that industry, like there's so many avenues, and just like I said, in real estate, you have type. If you don't want to do mortgages, hey, there's title. You could be a really good title person, or you could be a really good attorney that focuses on real estate transactions or real estate law, which is huge, But yeah, I just think picking a path is, it's always important.
How do you balance being independent with connecting with others when making these changes? Like, because for example, yesterday when I was talking to Shelly and Sharon, they're very independent. And Sharon, she had no problem cutting people or etc. How do you navigate changes when you're independent but also trying to keep connection?
I guess at the end of the day, like, I guess in a way my sisters are correct in a way. Like if somebody isn't like, is disturbing your peace, then I think and we're adults, like you should be able to make a decision as to, I don't know if I want that person in my life or whatnot. So I guess like protecting your peace, if you will,
Or protecting your energy.
protecting your energy. Yes, correct. But yeah, I mean, that's just being selective, because again, it goes back to like, what does your circle of people look like, right? And it's always evolving. And again, my circle has evolved since I was in middle school, high school, and like it just you start meeting people and you start meeting more and more people, and the older you get or whatever you're doing, you start attracting those kinds of people, and the ones that are meant to be in your life, they'll stay around. And you got it's a two-way street. Like you have to put in the effort, so does the other person. But obviously the other person is going to put in the effort if they want to be in your life too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Has to be, definitely.
So I think in a way it's just being selective and putting yourself out there, and obviously accepting the fact that not everybody's going to like you,
Yeah.
or want to work with you, and that's okay. Like there's so many people in this world.
I think that's one of the things that people forget is like, don't take things personal.
Yeah.
It could be a bad day, bad first meeting,
Or you lose a deal.
yeah, they were in it, or they had a bad experience, but it could have been your fault, not your fault.
Right.
It just happens. I mean, do you think, so yesterday we discussed that in general, like you're all very successful in your own right. And we touched into where does that come from? Where does that, putting the hard work, not being afraid to try different things. Where do you think that comes from?
It stems all from, and speaking on behalf of my siblings too, I think we're super grateful to have our parents. I give them all the credit as far as them sacrificing, time and to put us in a position where we're at today. That drive, I think my dad, because this is an immigrant story. You immigrant to America, and in his case, my father's case, it was building a business. He had the entrepreneurial spirit, and he had faced many challenges. One being the language, and even to this day, like it's not like he's got the perfect English, but he tries. And so the one thing that always instilled in all of us was that like you have to take risk, and risk can come in many sizes. But the fact is that you just have to take a risk and like be confident on the fact that you're gonna do this risk. Like even for myself, like as a loan officer, it's all referral based and it's commissioned only. And so like at some point, in my career where I was paid salary and then I transitioned to like commission, it's a huge jump.
It's on you.
Exactly. It's on you. Like, are you willing to take that leap of faith that it'll all work out? And the thing is, nobody will know, not even yourself. Like, unless you do it, then you'll find out. And then, okay, if you fail, fine, but at least you tried.
Yeah.
At least you tried. So I think my parents, being the hard workers that they are, I think has instilled in all of us. Like, I mean, you see my brother. He's great. He's fantastic. He's he's the hardest worker that I know. But it comes from that, the fact that like my dad always never gave up. Like, and the thing is, my dad has failures in the past. He opened up a little grocery store, failed. Restaurant, failed. Like, there's so many failures to get to the point where he's at today. That the last bit of the restaurant that he has now, success. But all those other years of trying, losing money, losing sleep, like everything, to get to the point where they're at today. And that's just being persistent and confident that you're gonna survive and you're gonna win. And that's the attitude. And it's like we can do this. And as part of like even for myself, it's like I actually enjoy the career that I'm in because I'm able to help other people achieve financial statuses or achieve a financial goal, like by owning a home. So it's like I want not only my family to win, but other families to win.
No, I agree. And I think we discussed that as well, where at the core of it is seeing our parents struggle. Yes, they were, hard on us, but it's for a reason. Like they wanted us to not give up, to continue to, you can do it, figure it out. And like you said, I think at least for my dad also, he always said, if you're able to help, help.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the means to help, help.
Yeah.
And that's always also been at the forefront for me. It's like if there's something that I can do, I'm able to, I'll do it. And of course, it's never perfect, but you learn, you get better.
Yeah.
And then
At
they
least
can
you can help with what you can
yeah.
at the moment, at your given time. Like obviously in every aspect or stages of your life, there's only so much that you can do. Right? Like I mean at some point, obviously the goal would be that you can do a lot more, or you can donate to the charity that you want to, or you have the flexibility and time now to do something that you can do for others, you know?
So like I mean for me, I think part of this podcast is that like I know I'm going to be talking about different topics, but at the core of it is I want to eventually have more sessions geared toward our Latin community
Yeah.
because there's a lot of programs, a lot of things that you don't know, and we've only found out through connections that our parents, them trying and failing at things, have found out that has then tripled us to also build relationships, find out things that you can then share with others.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. There's a lot of unknowns. And I think being an advocate of what's out there, like, for example, with home loans, there's not just one product.
I had no idea. I mean,
There's
so many.
there's so many products. And that's the thing is like if you're not asking, like especially if you want to buy a house, like I would recommend just talk to a mortgage broker because mortgage brokers they have access to a ton of
All the
lenders.
programs.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's banks across the nation that want to lend you money.
I actually experienced that recently. I was a W-2 employee, and now I'm working with my husband, a small business.
Yep, and it's completely changed.
Yes,
the
and
income.
I was high income earner, and then I'm like, how are we going to continue to grow? Like, we want to continue to invest, etc. How do we do that?
Yeah.
So I did speak to a mortgage broker because you guys are not in New York, otherwise, it would be.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm like, how do I do this? So I had the conversation, and she's like, oh, there's so many programs. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I had no idea.
Yes, especially for investors too.
Yeah, I thought we were stuck. I was like, oh, and now she's wide open. Like,
Yep.
okay, if this doesn't work, there's this other program.
Correct.
So it's all.
You're able to pivot. That's the one thing as a broker, we're able to pivot. Like we're still working together, but I'm pivoting. Let's say this one doesn't work out. I got another bank over here.
Yeah.
We can try their program and see if that works for us to get the deal done that you would want. But yeah, it's just a matter of learning what's out there, and being a first time homebuyer too. Like that's always a goal for people. And there are assistants out there. I'm sure New York has down payment assistance programs, and you can look into these. There's information online. There's probably information on the county's website as far as the down payment assistance programs are concerned. But there are programs out there, and from experience, like I've been able to help many clients get into homes with a down payment assistance program, whether that covers the down payment or part of the closing cost. But just being able to let them know, like, hey, like you have the income, you have the credit, maybe you're just missing a little bit of assets. It's okay. We can get you that because sometimes people aren't fixed income, so it may take them a long time to get a savings for a down payment. So it's just definitely, reaching out to your local broker doesn't hurt, and then asking questions and then figuring it out.
Yeah. I think the other thing is the exposure. A lot of people that I've spoken to, they don't even try. They're like, oh, I need 20%, or they have this idea that they won't be able to do it. But speaking to them and maybe being an advocate, like they'll know you can do it. Like there's ways, you just get them in contact or your circle, like you said, networking. What's what do you think is the mindset that you carry that keeps you, like when things get rough? What do you turn to? What are some of the things that keep you going when things get bad?
Definitely a big part has been like my girlfriend, the significant other, like being there because we also work together right now this time. Uh, just having that support or extra support by my side and just saying like, hey, actually, we'll figure it out, right? Sometimes, like, if things go south or you got to pivot or whatnot, and in the moment it may be like stressful and you get brain fog and you can't think clearly. Like I just had this happen maybe a couple weeks ago where I had to pivot for a client, uh, and I'm just scratching my head. I'm like, I just don't know how to get this done. And I got a call from the realtor. Obviously, I'm always honest and upfront with how things are going, and even the realtor's like, I believe in you. I trust you. I know you can find a solution. And I'm like, although I didn't know it then at the given time, and then even with my girlfriend, like, hey, you'll find a solution. I know there's a program, or you'll restructure it, something. And yes, eventually, I was like, like maybe let's do it. Let's try it this way. And you get to a point where like your skills start coming back. They're just like, hey, they're there. You're capable of figuring this thing out. And we did end up restructuring and doing moving things around, and we were able to help the client out. They closed on their home, but it was literally my girlfriend and the realtor having that support system, like just being vocal, like on the phone, like, hey, I believe in you. I know you're going to figure out a solution. And like, although like at the time, it's hard to like take it in,
Clearly. Yeah.
but it's like, dang, like you were right. Thank you so much. Like I needed that little extra boost to overcome this little like thing that I'm in right now.
Yeah. What is something that you no longer stress about in your 30s?
Oh, man. I think like I don't know. I was stressed about. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I guess maybe like if you go out to eat or something, I'm not really worried about like how much it's gonna like cost or whatnot. I know like before you'd be conscious about like, oh, I only can go out to eat and maybe spend this much, or like the budget of that. I think that has changed over time. But I think that just comes with like time, and like the more you put in, the more you get out, and like uh but yeah, I think that's one thing I don't stress too much about.
What about what's one thing you feel like you still haven't figured out?
Uh like I guess the next big what's the next big hurdle, the jump that I would need to get into my career? Like I'm good where I'm at now, but I know it's like that's not where it's fine, but also I could be on the next level, and that's something constantly like, okay, do we need to hire? Do we need to um, get a better CRM, or just overall like how do we get to that next level? And so like talking to other people who have done it, that's always a huge plus, or maybe a mentor like that you can fall on, or call, or figure it out. But I think that right for this time right in my life, it's like I'm in my mid 30s, but I want to get to a next level where like in my 40s, like I'm like even more established, like I have maybe a team or something. That's kind of where I'm figuring it out.
Have you had mentors, throughout your career?
Yeah, a couple of especially loan officers that I worked under, uh, you know, under their wing, and I've learned everything from them. And so there's things that I've taken from each one of them that I would apply to uh, how I do business today. But I have a good friend. His name is Daniel, and so his father, like they do, they're in real estate and whatnot, and they had businesses and stuff like that. So it's somebody who I had called at the time of making a decision. Do I leap and do my own thing, or do I just continue where I'm at? And that conversation, and it was just the one conversation, and which was like, do you think you'll be able to survive or have that one deal? And it's just simple. It was like, Can you do at least that one deal a month? And the answer is like, yes, I think I could do that, you know? And it's like, well, it's like, you won't know until you try, right? And so it's like, just having a conversation who's not really family or friend, it's somebody who's been successful, giving you that confidence is like, just do it.
How do you define success in your 30s?
I think being able to, I think success for me is just like keeping your word, especially like if you're dealing with people's money. You know, I think if I'm gonna tell you we can do something and get you to this goal, and I accomplish that, I think that's successful. You know, well, and the thing is, it may not even be like how much commission did I make off that. It's irrelevant. I'm beginning you from point A. Like you're putting your trust into me to get that done, and so that's the main goal. And if I can do that, then I'm successful. Or just even with anybody, like if I say something, for example, I'm going to show up like, oh, it could be anything like a baby shower or a birthday. Just showing up, I think for your other friends and people that have been there for you, I think that's successful. Like, and you just surround your people around those people. So,
I like that.
yeah.
I like that. What's the biggest lesson you would like for people to take away about navigating change?
Just, I think you do have to put yourself out there. And it's uncomfortable. It's scary at times. But again, I fall back to you don't know the unknown. Until you personally do it, you know, then, you know, you're just strengthening your beliefs. Because it's all like sometimes psychological. Like, if you say yourself like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, and you know, you tell yourself that 9 times a day, you may not ever take it to the next level, or take a chance. But if you switch your mindset and you tell yourself 9 times a day, like, oh, I think I could do this, I'm gonna do it, or I'm gonna do it, and you actually do it, then maybe it could be successful, or whatever it is that you're doing.
I think what has helped me also is like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like when I've had issues in our small business,
Yeah.
like there's been things that I'm like have freaked me out, and I'm like, okay, what is the worst thing that can happen? And if that happens, can I rebuild or can I start again? Or, you know, are we going to be okay? And when I start thinking about the worst case scenario, at the end of the day, it still comes back to like, I'm resourceful. I've done this
Yes.
before. I can do it again. And
Yep.
you're learning. I think the best thing is like you're constantly learning. Like when you get out of your comfort zone, you learn. You learn something you did not know before. You get better at it if you continuously do it. Because I think you have to at least continuously do it for a while
Yeah.
to say, okay, I really tried, and it's just
Right. Or you exhausted all your resources and
Yes.
you're like, you know what, this isn't working out.
Yes.
Like, time to pivot.
yes.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me on your show, and I look forward to seeing more of your success on this. Do it all with Nancy.
Yeah, thank you. I hope this, helps people in
Absolutely.
their 30s. Like I said, I think I want to focus on people that are either starting out in their career to, like you said,
Yeah.
forget, skip certain things, learn.
And what I would say to those people is you probably know somebody, like you probably know a friend or a family in an industry. Always ask for their number or contact to be able to talk to that person.
Use your network.
Exactly, you have to. People are going to pick up their phone call. Like they will or they may not. Then you move on.
And that's one thing that I also learned is like going into this, I'm reaching out to people that I myself know, coworkers. And what I found is that people are always willing to help you.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a good example as to, hey, you reached out. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, but you would have never known if you didn't reach out. So I guess maybe the point of this episode is to reach out and take that first step.
Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.